Hello and welcome to AOK Games. Here we are in the Black Square Grand Duke piston variant. We're essentially on the northwest side of the island, and this is indeed a fresh install of Flight Simulator for me. And it's the service update full release version of the install. And why that matters is, well, I'd like to do a little bit more testing with the ground contact model, and I figured this would be the perfect aircraft to illustrate the differences, essentially because what we have here is an aircraft that has a 14 and a 15 install version. This is the 15, and I reviewed this aircraft. Matter of fact, I reviewed both this and the turbine variant, but I did it under the Service Update 14 constraints. So, it being different now, we've gone ahead and set up quite a scenario for the weather to hopefully demonstrate this as much as possible. So, what we've got here is a lot of lightning, some precipitation in the area, a lot of cloud coverage, a lot of density. And then most importantly, the wind, almost at 184 degrees. So direct crosswind into Dillingham, Papa Hotel, Delta Hotel at almost 20 knots with a gust of almost direct crosswind, 18 gusts per minute at 18 knots. So you can see the wind out there, and you can see exactly this final approach, what it's going to mean lining up. Now you can't see the central crosswind and the effect that it's having on the aircraft because we're flying with the wind and we are turning into it off of our right nose. So yes, it will be almost direct off of our starboard side of our aircraft here. And in an effort to test the ground contact model, I figured what better way to do that than a full crosswind approach with almost 20 knot gusts as well as steady 20 knots of wind. And to illustrate that even further, you'll notice how much power we have to have into the engines just to keep the aircraft flying just above the white arc there. And I've gone ahead and obviously toggled out the right hand side of the view there. Apologies for cutting through the top left part of the windscreen there. But you can see when we get to the final here just how much crabbing essentially that we are going to have to do to demonstrate this. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the first notch of flaps as well as the gear. And I'll put full flaps down, and I'm going to maintain this visual perspective out of the window on this quarter angle here because I think it will help show exactly what we're flying into with these crosswinds. So you can see the waves of jostling down there. We're kind of coming in on an angle here, but that will be dulled out quite quickly here because we're not going to have to turn too much to alleviate this short final angle that we have going on here. So yep, ground contact model. Very interested in seeing how this new Service Update 15 install for the Grand Duke plays a part in touchdown with the wheels on the pavement here. So there you go. We've got our sight line. And you can see I'm still turned with my eyeballs a little bit left here as the nose of the aircraft is facing more towards the taxiway than anything else. And now that the sight picture is clear enough, we'll go ahead and begin to cut the power here. And that's a 20 knot crosswind. It was very touchy on the approach, but that's essentially just the winds. It has nothing to do with the ground contact model. You can see any landing that you can walk away from. In my case, is quite terrible landing. However, we live to go get some dinner and get out of these cloudy, lightning-filled, rained-up area clouds, and it's just a demonstration of, I believe, the new contact model. So I haven't, in any of the aircraft that I've used on Microsoft Flight Simulator pre this update, notice it on the heavier aircraft in terms of the way that these things handle these lighter aircraft on the ground model. Because, well, with the heavy ones, you know, there's so much more weight on the wheels anyways that I feel like it's more conducive to not noticing the effects of the ground contact resolution increase, or however it was they did software-wise to encode a better contact patch on the ground for these light aircraft in particular. I feel like that was absolutely manageable, and it's definitely going to make a change because, in my opinion, we've got these tail draggers in this game, and I've said it in my Black Square review for the Service Update 15 changes that I always felt that aircraft was extremely difficult for me to land because of the large diameter of the propeller, especially it being in the rear as a pusher prop and having to flare on final without flaps. So you get in any kind of wind gusts or turbulence with the extension length of the main gear. It was a very touchy aircraft for me, at least, to land, and that was all but alleviated with this patch 15. So the fact that I feel like this Grand Duke almost seems custom tailored now for the new model they have here with this release really lends itself to a more enjoyable flying condition, especially during takeoff, roll, and landing when you have torque factor, especially on a twin like this. So this is all good news because, again, it means we can do tail dragger reviews now, and we can fly a lot of those planes, in particular the Messerschmitt Bf 109. That aircraft, for me, I've been wanting to review it, but I have not reviewed it, essentially because it was a beast to take off and land. In fact, it was so cumbersome that they even included it in the EFB, a button for easy ground handling physics. And when you have to program easy mode into the handling model of an aircraft, perhaps it just needs the Service Update 15, as this does seem to benefit all aircraft. It extremely helped the Black Square Velocity XL, which I felt was very touchy, and this one I never had a problem with in the reviews for 14, but now the 15's out, it just feels all that more authentic. The turning, the non-instantaneous dampered effect of steering the wheel in the front, left and right, feels a lot more connected to the surface, and I tell you, there was a lot of delays for this update. However, it of course seems to have been well worth it, and it's almost worth re-exploring the simulator for, in my opinion. So that was the 20-knot crosswind landing in the fabulous Duke with a not so fabulous pilot, but we're here to tell our tale and go on to another day. So that'll conclude what I feel is pretty much a self-explanatory video minus my flying skills about the service update we got. So as always, thanks for joining me here on the channel and hopefully checking out this video, trying to leave it as a short one so that you all don't have to hang out all day with my boredom. And that being said, thank you so much for coming around, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.